You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
To our super quirky show, Mustache Question, in which there's only one mustache in the room today.
I did get it off of Amazon. Does it look good? Does it look real?
It's good. I think they did a good job. And did it come with the extra accoutrement?
No, that was depression.
Everybody, welcome Mike Less, who is from Scout, doing all the important things behind the scenes. It's like I always feel like the important people for most publishing companies are the ones that are doing the really important things behind the scenes. They're, like people may not even know their name.
I mean, I've been called a secret sauce enough, and I'm just like, we got to choose what the sauce is. Am I a carbonara? Am I marinara? Like, what am I? Like, am I providing flavor or am I providing like proper sustenance?
Well, what was your preference?
I feel like, emotionally speaking, I would be a white sauce from a halal cart, just cause it just adds the zing that makes it edible for a lot of the dishes.
Is that the spicy one?
I can't do it. I want to be able to survive the night. You know what I mean? Emotionally speaking, I don't know. I think technically a secret sauce is Thousand Island dressing with extra onions. I hear your hate speech right there. I'm accepting it. How dare you?
Doesn't it have to have like crushed up like pickles or something in it? I kind of feel like it has to have that in it.
Crushed up pickles in Thousand Island sauce?
I don't know. It just
also, it's not a sauce, it's a dressing. That's for salad, all right? Come at me with that.
Do you remember I think it was like what was the name? It was a cooking show in which guys did like extreme food challenge stuff.
Two fat ladies.
Yeah, they were like sauce.
Oh, Epic Mealtime.
Epic Mealtime.
Yeah.
I miss those dudes. But I guess there's
Kenneth
only so
Bird,
many ways
hi
you
to
can
everyone here today. No.
Kenneth Bird's in the house.
No. No hellos. How dare you?
So that's Kyle behind the scenes saying he's gonna totally figure out the McDonald's secret sauce. I kind of feel like Google can tell us everything. I'm pretty sure somebody knows what the secret sauce is and has posted it.
It's not a secret, I don't think, but did you know that the Wendy's chili is just their leftover burger in chili sauce? Not chili sauce, but you know what I mean. It's just their leftover. That's what the meat is.
I am actually happy about that. It means there's no waste.
There's no waste. And you know what? I would say it's probably their best item.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that all of the croutons at all of the restaurants we go to are bread from the day before.
You know what? It's always good.
It is.
Am I supposed to say no to it?
Nah.
Anyway, we have a lovely show for you today. I don't have any agenda items in my head, but I can talk off the cuff about literally anything. But first, what do you got, Jen? What do you got?
Oh, I don't know. I am genuinely Wendy's best item is a Coke Unlimited machine with Diet Dr. Pepper.
I hear that, but I raise you. It's the same machine for McDonald's, so technically, McDonald's had it first because you can do all the flavors in Diet Coke because it's flavor agnostic.
All right, but here's the thing: Wendy's put it public facing, so you can do it yourself. Coke. If you want to get Diet Cherry Coke at McDonald's, you got to have them put the stuff in.
Now you do, because people like me would steal it way too often.
All right, I resemble that remark. Okay.
I remember going in there, and hey, judge me all you want, but I have gone in there with an empty 1-liter bottle of Coke, and it was one of the biggest effort days that I've ever had. I walked in, I put the bottle up against the machine, I pressed the button. Had I bought anything? No. And I just walked out with a free 1-liter bottle of cherry Diet Coke, and that was the day. I was ready for it that day.
Self-admission.
I'm so sorry. Sell it in cans.
Sell it in cans. So what you're saying is that there's not a way to get it otherwise?
In McDonald's now, I think they have to actually go to the machine for you. That must have been something that they did for COVID, but I think they stuck with it because they're just like, oh, wait, people are no longer abusing this. Let me see. What's the statute of limitations on stealing soda from McDonald's? I don't know. I don't know. I also don't remember. Oh, wait, when was this? This would have been like 2015. Yeah. So 7 years. If it can't be on my tax record, I'm not liable for it.
We used to have a Pokemon League at McDonald's, and then we moved it to Burger King inside the Walmart, and I would see kids go to the front and get like, I'd like a water cup, please, and go around the corner and get soda, and I'd have to be like, sweethearts, I'm just going to tell you now, I'm not the police, and I'm not going to narc on you, but you are literally stealing from them, and this is a path you don't want to go down.
That's what people do in Chipotle.
Do they really?
Yeah. But thievery in Chipotle is huge because they have all of their like hot sauces in a bar away from the cash register. And it's like, you have your utensils, and the plastic utensils at Chipotle are by far the most like well-designed, hardcore, because they have to go through everything. And I have seen people straight up take out the container tin filled with their forks and knives and just dump them in their book bags. I also grew up in the Bronx, and it's just like, and it was just like flabbergasted. My cousin has multiple hot sauce bottles because they're full on just like Cholula, like hot sauce bottles. And I'm just like, you've never bought a single one of these. He's just like, unfortunately not, and I am sorry. So he's remorseful as he's pouring it over his eggs in the morning.
I can barely sleep when I accidentally get, like, when you're getting a water, like, it's always part of like lemonade or something. When I get that extra, like when you first put it in there and it starts the tiny bit of squirt of lemonade, so you have essence of lemonade in your water, I'm like, I just feel guilty about it. I'm a firstborn. So
every sip is a sin.
Please forgive me. It's that, or dump out your ice and the water I got in the cup.
And then that's just wasteful. And that's just wasteful. To speak to something a little bit more comic book oriented, I actually had a question for you, and I wasn't sure if anybody else was going to be joining us, but the relationship between retailers and their websites. Specifically, I've noticed a big trend of people using their social media platforms as essentially an extension of their stores. And not to say that they've abandoned their sites, but I don't see like as much upkeep on the websites as you would, in the .com era. How's that gone for you?
I mean, for us personally, we use it a lot, but this is what I kind of heard is that people kind of that are tracking the traffic on their website is that they see that almost no one goes to it. So the amount of effort and upkeep on something that it does cost some money to have a good website. Yeah. Sometimes people just see it as like, okay, I'll get to it if I can. But we actually have to keep ours live all the time, like having more information on it. We have it so that it just takes anything we post to our social media and puts it in the stream of what people see on the web page. And then there you go. Let me rebuild the website. And, people usually either use their website as information, we're letting you know what's going on, or they use it as retail. Like it's just links to things they sell, or is just a selling site. Like some of them, when you go onto the store website, it literally is just shop stuff and it isn't informational. So I think that this next year, if we can figure out how to make it work, try to do a better integration, because there's so many cool functionalities now you can have things like a Shopify site that you have links to on your webpage, but also in your social media, you can let's say that my staff reads something and they really love it, they can take a picture with the thing, which is what you want to do for social media, because social media says you have to have a person in your picture or people are going to scroll by. And then kind of tag it with link to the Shopify, which takes them to your website. So that's our sister store that's gaming does that really, really well. And that drives a lot of traffic and business to them. That's just something we didn't have someone on staff that could figure out the integration for. So we're working on doing that. And yeah, I think that you're right. So what are you hearing on your end? Are people using websites?
I mean, on my end, I speak to a lot more creators wondering how they can, obviously using social media, trying to figure out the marketing game, try to figure out how to get their book out there. But a lot of them, and something that I've wanted to, it's been in my head for a while, because I'm wondering, I have my own comic book coming out. So it's the same, I'm having the same questions, how do I get it out there? But also I know for a fact that I'm not the best social media person. Mm-hmm. I have a personality and I know that I can be a little bit crazy, sure, whatever. So that does translate. Me? No, I'm not lovable. People are held hostage. And so I know that it's a struggle for me to produce content in that way, simply because the book isn't out yet. There's not really much that I can share regarding that story. And a social media post needs to be, it's kind of like the very end of the spectrum. It needs to be so concise and so digestible that you're not sure. It's like if you have ADHD, God forbid you have to choose from any of your options. And that's kind of like my situation, where I'm just I don't know what to post, because I don't want to oversaturate my my feed, but then I end up just getting
you should worry about it, because the way the algorithms work on all of the social media, I would tell you that the books and creators that are in my head the most, that I'm paying the most attention to, would, in normal speak, you'd say that they are totally spamming their site. But what it means is that I see, just like in advertising, you have to see a thing a bajillion times before it registers to you.
Yeah.
That they're posting every day or twice a day or three times a day, not the exact same image and comment, but just here's a picture of half of a panel with some words on it to tease you, or sharing, the other parts of their letter or something they're posting on their social media and so it's always the hashtag with their book and when it comes out and those kinds of things. Buy it at your local comic shop. That's an important thing for me as a comic shop. If you have all that great information, but then it links to somewhere that is a different selling platform, I can't really use it for my social media, because it draws people away from thinking about buying it from me, which I hate to say that that's the way it is, but I have to keep my doors open by selling comics.
Yeah. It is a very different conversation, a retailer website, obviously, because you're focused on actually selling, your wares, as it were, and a comic book creator who's trying to focus specifically on creating a community for their own IP. And I'm wondering, I know that Scout's website is mostly just, it is a shopping space. You're there, you can read some stuff about but the navigation of it is very much tailored toward the Shopify. You're here to shop, you're here to collect. I do think constantly about if I were to design a website that happened to have a shop section, I kind of would want it to be mini websites for individual books. So a page per either for the book or the creator. with their that the creators can say, hey, check out my works, and then they would actually have something from the publisher or from the retailer or something that could live in different places and then communicate with different social media platforms. I don't know about Facebook being that place, because a lot of people used to create Facebook pages to be that. I don't know how important that is these days, because I don't know how many people are actually, sharks circling that drain, because that's going down. Yeah, I just had that in my brain the last few days, because I'm wondering what I should do, and I want to steal ideas.
I see people doing that on all the different platforms, really, just like making a separate account that is the name of the book.
Yeah.
And they reference to it all the time when they're making posts just for themselves.
Yeah.
And I haven't gone necessarily to those pages to see if there's a lot of interactions happening there.
Yeah.
But it is just another hit for, like, you see the name.
Yeah. I have my own list. So I have my personal account, which I've more or less abandoned, because it's just pictures of my cat. And I'm just like, okay, I don't post anything about myself. And then I ended up creating the Patty and Laz Instagram, at Patty and Laz. It's spelled, if anybody wants to go there. But I ended up using pictures of my cat as like bookends for each of my posts. So it'll just be like a bunch of pictures that I post, a small description at the end, just a picture of Fifi just going full. I don't know why, but doing that has garnered more likes on my page than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, Cats of Instagram has been supporting me so hardcore. So it's weird. I'm trying to find the right space for my book, because it's almost like I have to go into market research. Like, I have to pick up a new major. I have to go back into school and just pick up a new major. Just like, how do you speak to the hip crowd?
I don't know. For a little while, I've never done one myself, but I watched some like more famous people do like Reddit AMAs.
Yeah.
And those were kind of fun. That people just like they were engaged, and then it was kind of like a live interview, but it was just like posting instead.
Yeah.
And that was kind of an interesting thing to see.
I kind of did that. I did on Instagram, and it allows you to say like, basically an AMA, ask me a question or ask me anything. And it was mostly a bunch of my friends and maybe a couple like anonymous folks that came in out of the woodwork and just asked me the most ridiculous stuff. And I did my best to make it cheeky and fun. It was the first time doing it, but it's just like it begs the question, just like, as someone who's not someone who enjoys social media to the highest extent of it, because there are some folks who love it, who will post so much because they genuinely enjoy it. I'm just like, I don't like my face. I don't enjoy hearing my own voice. And my words annoy me. That's why I'm having you buy it. It's hard. It's definitely hard, because, people have suggested doing a live. And I'm just like, but the only people who would be there are possibly just my friends and family who call me anyway. At that point, I'm just talking to my sister. It's just like, I don't know. I'm just trying to crack it, and I know I'm not the only person who's doing it, and I feel like all of us are struggling to figure out how to talk to each other about this stuff. Like, what do I have to do? Start an OnlyFans? Like, come on. And it'll just be my cat. I'll just have my cat on camera dancing around, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I get money that way.
I really truly have seen over the last, I don't know how long we've been doing, like 5 years or something, that we've been doing live broadcasts and doing live interviews especially for independent creators.
Yeah.
That if you can find platforms or podcasts or any of those things that have their own built-in fan base that are there because they like comics, that once they get to know you, what I've seen is that my customers that are watching live, they become like like dyed in the wool true fans for anything that creator puts out. So like, I'll give you an example, like Garrett Gunn and Dr. Christy Blanche, they've got, just from coming on shows and doing interviews, people got to know them. And so now really anything that they put out, people put in their box. So you can think about that. I know you hate your face, you don't like doing those things, but there's something to people getting to know you that are like, oh, I like that cat. He's funny.
Fifi's right here, just lording over me.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
I was going to ask you, just like I know that you have your show. I would love to be on.
Absolutely.
We could just do this again.
Yeah. We'll get you on a talking shop, because that's everyone knows that's where we're talking to people that stuff that's coming out they should add to their poll boxes then. So that's the fan base. They're literally, because they're looking for what's the next thing. So
I mean, my book is hopefully coming out this year. I'm saying hopefully because you never know if I like boom, there's just like a bomb right here. But yeah, we're working really hard on it. It is comic books are hard. I don't know if you ever felt that.
In the last 30 years, no.
Never got it, because I'm just like, is it supposed to be this difficult? Yes, apparently. Anything that you love.
I suspect that if you asked creatives in any industry, like just regular straight up artists that are just trying to, find people that want to buy their original pieces, or people that do like their voice actors, or just like anything, I'm sure that there is a daily struggle. Like I'll share with you really fast. I got given to me all of Nate Butler's creative works when he retired, to help himself for his retirement, because people don't really realize most creatives don't have a retirement package because they're just contract workers. So unless they put the money away, then they just got to figure out how to make money to enjoy their golden years. Mm-hmm. And what I learned from looking at his stuff, so he was a person that kept every single piece of correspondence. I mean, I'm talking like he gave me like the book he and his brother colored when they were kids as a comic book. So he kept every correspondence between him and King Features and Archie and Henson and all this stuff. So what I saw was, so even the ones that were failures, right? Things that like, okay, we can't use you right now. We don't have any space. Like, no, you can't take over for, Bud Sackhoff. No, we don't need you. So it told me that back then, when there wasn't an internet, or, like you could phone, I guess, but that there was so much effort to trying to get a job. Like you just had to do that grind. I think we don't feel like it, that we've got, like, now it feels like there's so much noise that we get lost, but it's easier to reach people to do creative work with, or people that are wanting to find creative work to publish. Like I just hands up to those guys that are the two generation before us creative in the comic book industry, that had to really truly show up at conventions and shake hands and show work and send a million letters. And I don't know how much money they spent on stamps, but it was a lot.
Yeah. I mean, to say that they built the industry, but not just built the industry, but just there's, the phrase mainstream, just like it's breaking through that, like that level of like legitimacy in a certain space, like the mainstream space, because, not everyone thinks that there's value in being mainstream. They want to be niche. They want to be a part of the underground, but the zeitgeist changing, and suddenly people are thinking that comic books are now valid works of art, valid works of literature. And it's just like that in and of itself, not just is amazing, it adds another layer of pressure for new creators, new writers, where they're just like, oh crap, people who read this might actually take this as seriously as I do. I have to be as good as I possibly can be. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Agreed.
So for a lot of friends and anyone that basically submit something to me. I end up acting as like a story developer or whatnot. And the one thing that I usually, a lot of the same questions come in. They say, how do I get this? I'm trying to get this story in the right frame so that it sells. And there is a valid question there. You want to be able to market yourself and make your story marketable, and try not to fall in all the pitfalls of being, in my opinion, grossly sexualized with all of your characters, and making sure that you can have unlikable characters all you want, but there has to be something intriguing happening around them so that we stick around. But maybe you have a similar feeling. I'm trying to vehemently convince people to not write stories about a cool guy in a cool place doing cool things in a cool future with a cool past, in a dark place in a dark past with a cool future with cool powers and dark powers. And I'm just like, you gotta give me a reason to care. And I feel like those are the types of stories that tend to cut through and actually get recognized. And it's hard for me, or at least the challenge for me, is saying that without offending. And I know that we're going through a few different topics, but this is how my brain works. Welcome to me.
I think it kind of equates to, I don't know if you've ever seen the video where, I can't remember, imagine some really powerful hip hop producer, maybe Simmons, who had people come in and were trying to there was like a group that was a rap group he was like, okay, give me one of your songs. And they started doing it. And over what they were rapping, he would do Mary Had a Little Lamb or something. And just like to tell them, your beat is the same. Your beat like this, it's not special. It's not unique. And to see them it really was kind of like a test, right? Or am I going to break you down by just telling you that this is the same beat? You're going to keep going and find something else to show me. Yeah. And it was like, I feel like that's our industry, right? It's like when you're doing the exact same story as Shakespeare wrote a million times, but you have to make it different enough to have a new generation care about it.
Yeah. I mean, like, how many characters out there exist that are just analogs of Batman?
Yes.
1,000 of them. But the reason that Batman survives across it because writers have found ways to make him as intriguing, as brilliant, and honestly, the emotional weight of his journey has grown. He is an epic storyline now. Not to compare him to Lord of the Rings, but honestly, with the amount of the dearth of information about Batman now, you would have to equate him to some sort of long-standing epic. I think, am I out of turn for saying that? I don't want to offend Batman fans. I don't want to offend Lord of the Rings fans or Harry Potter fans. Always remember Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is the ABC song in Row, Row, Row Your Boat.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But all three of those hit. All three of those hit different.
Favorites of 4-year-olds everywhere.
Yeah. So these are a few of the thoughts that have been going through my head, but they all lead back to how do these stories penetrate through just the miasma of, pardon my French, crap that's out there. And a lot of, I'm trying to give a few of these writers the confidence that they need, that their stories can make it. But I also want to temper their expectations because there's so much out there. And even I'm struggling to figure it out. I can only give them my perspective on things. But yeah. And then my own book. I know I love my story. I love my story for Patty and Laz. But you don't think I wake up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night thinking, oh, it's all garbage. Jesus.
That would make every creative I've ever talked to.
Oh, God. Are you writing anything right now?
So I'm in this weird place where I pitched an idea.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a first book, and then like time passed where I genuinely thought that idea and pitch had been like that's not any good. Sorry. And then I got told 6 months later, oh no, we totally want to print this thing. We need an ash can now. And I have just a complete, like, my brain is just like, I had already moved past it. I'm like, nope, that's not a thing that people want. I will think of something else creative. So I'm having the hardest time going back to those characters and that world.
Yeah.
I'm stuck. So I don't know. I might be past it and be just like, I'll think of something else amazing. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, that's an excellent question. It's not the mustachio question. I don't know what I'm going to say for that or what you're going to say for that. But in terms of pitches, there are like two very strong schools of thought, right? There's the pitch Bible and the pitch package, right? That is very bare bones in terms of like tone and emotion. Like, these are the facts. This is the story. And I feel like this is a very old school way of presenting your pitch. Just like, oh, you're not supposed to inject any of your own personality. This is supposed to be taken as what it is. It is essentially a tax document about your about your story. And I've gotten these pitches before, and I'm of the school of mind that always give me a good read. I do, like, anything that you hand me should be intriguing to read from the jump, and I'm a fan of having the tone there. I want to hear your character's voice. I shouldn't be the one developing your hype. The pitch should be doing this. This is your first sell, and it's to me, So where do you stand on that?
I don't know. Having my other work was either in conjunction with the Christian Comics Art Society, when we used to make little small books that we were making for like giveaways for Halloween or those kinds of things. Like just like, here's a good story you can give away to people instead of candy. Or my self-published work, which happened back in the 90s, that went out through Diamond. So I have no input other than those. I really have been my own creative person, so I've never had to have anyone like really approve a thing. This is my first try at doing that. Like, I think my real problem is that I'm wearing so many hats right now. To try to find time for the creative process is the hardest part.
Yeah. My heart goes out to folks who are just starting out, who don't know how to construct something like that. And then the submission process for someone who's not initiated is daunting. And I know, because I scare the crap out of people, apparently. And I've never imagined myself to be that guy, because I read something and I'm like, I am the guy who will send you like a few pages of, not like say, oh, you have to change this, or you have to change that. I'm the one who's going to be asking the questions. I'm the one who's going to be asking, like, hey, this is the tone that I'm getting. Is this what you were looking for? And I will give you as much feedback and constructive feedback as possible. But then when the person gets that document from me and they see it's 3 pages long, and it's just, I can only imagine it's just like, but no, this is a good thing.
Yeah.
How many times I created a pitch, and I'm lucky because my teacher, and I do think in quotes because we were just fast friends, Brendan Deneen in college, he was the one who taught me how to do pitching, and he is kind of like a mix of, not those hand gestures, he was kind of a mix. He was kind of a mix of both schools of thought, where he wanted a proper Bible, that was kind of like your tax document, but he also wanted you to make it a good read. He wanted to be enthralled by your story. I tend to lean a little bit more to this hand. I still want to know all of the information, but you have to construct it in a way that's pleasing to the eye. But I don't even know what my point was with this. I completely lost it.
Not to terrify people. Like maybe your thing is that if you get 3 pages of feedback from me about something you've submitted, then I cared enough to submit 3 pages to help you figure out how to fix a thing. Yes. It wasn't a no, thank you for playing.
Yes, I'm always up for, please resubmit. These are your notes. Even if you don't take every note that I give you, and this is also my stance on editors. I'm not looking like whenever I have an editor, I'm not looking for a line editor. I don't need someone to tell me like, oh, fix this sentence. Ask me questions. If you don't understand something, if there's a lack of clarity about my story, that's what I'm most worried about. Are the facts that need to be there? But if you're telling me no, this part of the story doesn't I don't like this part of the story, this character's stupid, and I've gotten those critiques, and I've just like, you know what, this relationship isn't going to work. I feel like an editor or someone who's going to be giving feedback should be trying to get the information from someone's head because they have a legit story that they want to say onto the page. And sometimes, and this has happened a lot of times, sometimes what's on the page, you will see that there's a very particular segment that they have devoted their entire heart and soul to. And it's just like, it's dense, it's great. And the rest of the pitch is just fluff compared to this. And I've told people, honestly, the second I stopped reading about this, I lost the plot. I lost interest. This is your story. If you're looking for the thing that's going to make people's heart race, it's because this is what I've now formed a connection to. Instead of like, it's the difference between writing something that's relatable and writing something that elicits empathy. I don't know, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I know I went off the rails. We're already a little bit past, but
this is good stuff. This is the episode to watch for people that are like wanting to be creative people and make comics.
I would love to do this more. I always think, should I do a podcast? But again, I have the problem where I hate my face and I hate my voice and I hate my words. So,
hey man, if you're ever going to do a different show that isn't Mustache Question, that is just about creating, we can totally make that happen.
Oh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Do you want to do the Mustachio question?
Sure. Since we're on the subject, what is the one mistake you see most often in people's pitches?
Hold on. Yeah, because like we know a guy whose whole job is to make shows. Could you elaborate on that?
When you're ready to make the show, just call me. Like, that's my whole job. It's what I do here 8 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I'm sorry. My brain did not make that connection. I was just like, what show? On Disney Plus? It's honestly not having a complete story. So many of the pitches that I get are ones that have a very strong opening. Maybe they have some lines in the middle, like, oh, and then this will happen, but there's no ending. And I don't see the plot. It just ends. And I'm just like, well, at that point I have to ask, what is the point of the story?
Yeah, so they're intending to have a cliffhanger, but you are not the person to leave cliffhanger.
Nope. Nope. You gotta tell me what the story is. That's legit what this is supposed to be. But a lot of them will write. A lot of pitches come in as episodes. Like, oh, episode 1 will be this. The season will be this. But then, and then I can always. A lot of them will send, oh, I'll create more stories if need be. Just no. What is your story?
Yeah. Is there an end game?
Yeah. What about for you? Do you receive a lot of pitches, or do people ask you for like help with writing and stuff?
I do get a lot of people say, "Will you read this for me and see what it needs?" And most things that are handed to me, I think are really great. I always think that the big struggle is that for me, there are stories that I find to be very dense and very rich with all their characters and all these kinds of things. But for me, if it is not, this is my big thing, if it's not a character-driven story, I check out.
Yeah.
If it's a battle-driven story, which there's plenty of room for those in the market, I check out. If there's a battle-driven story that has characters that I care about, I'm in.
Yeah.
So that's the big difference for me. For everything that I read in movies and everything else, if there's not a character that I can either identify with or that I hate, so I have to figure out what are they going to get their comeuppance or whatever it is. I have to have a connection to characters. If it's a big group thing and they never get into any of the particulars about the group, then I don't care.
Yeah. Characters are kind of important for any story. And a lot of people forget that. Here's the setting. It's a dark world in a dark place with a dark time with dark powers. I'm just like, and there are dark cars, lots of clouds. I'm just like, okay. Anyway, guys, this has been Mustachio Question Sans James Hake. He has been fighting crime in New York City, New Jersey, and small parts of Pennsylvania. So he's been a little bit busy.
That's right. And he's crunching numbers, which is important.
Yeah, crunching numbers and just taking hits.
Right.
All right. See ya
next week.
Join the party.